Okay, man, let's just talk about the four fights out there for Canelo Alvarez. Which one should he take? My name is Donnie P. This is the left hook. Let's go. Okay. So again, like I said, I think we got four fights out there for Canelo. That makes sense. Anything after that, don't even do it. But four fighters out there. One, Dimitri Bivol. Two, Artur Beterbiev. Three, Terrence Crawford, and then four, the winner of Benavidez Morrell. Right? Those are his four options. And I just wanted to kind of breeze over those four options and kind of like which way he should lean. But obviously, there's reasons why he should fight each guy. Let's talk about those reasons. Um, One, I mean, you kind of look at him like first, who's the toughest fight out of all those guys, right? Well, I think the toughest fight is going to be Artur, right? I think he's the toughest fight out of all those guys. He's the biggest, the strongest. He hits the hardest, and for a guy Canelo's size, who's a good deal smaller than Beterbiev, to go in there and go 12 rounds with that's going to be tough. Um, Next, I would say Bivol is definitely going to be the next toughest fight for him. But he's been in there with Bivol. He knows Bivol, and in his mind, maybe he thinks he can win. I don't know. I didn't see him winning that in any way, but in his mind, maybe he thinks he can. Um, I mean, he only lost 7-5, so with Canelo, you don't actually have to really win in order to get the W. Sometimes he can just if he fights even or even just a little bit less, he's gonna get the W in that fight. So I would definitely put Bivol as the second toughest. After that is going to be the winner of Morrell and Benavidez. That's going to be the next toughest fight. The easiest fight for him physically is going to be Terrence Crawford. Now, physically, that's going to be the easiest fight. Terrence, though, is the most skilled boxer out of everybody, though, right? He's more skilled than all those guys. He's more skilled than Canelo, more than Benavidez, Morrell, Bivol, or Artur. You know what I'm saying? He's the most skilled one. And all those guys are very skilled, but I would put Terrence as the most skilled. But he's light. I mean, he's 150 pounds soaking wet, So, and we saw that against, Madrimov that, physically, Madrimov was just as strong, if not stronger than Terrence. Terrence was just better. Terrence was faster. Maybe Terrence was stronger too. But Terrence was the better fighter easily in that fight. I do think Canelo, though. I mean, Canelo versus Terrence. I had Terrence winning at first, but after watching him fight Madrimov, I don't know. That's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a very tough fight for Canelo. I mean, for Terrence, it'll be a tough fight for both of them. But physically, I think that the damage he'll take against anybody else will be more so than any damage he takes from Terrence, because Terrence is a smaller man. Now, most money, that obviously matters. Who is he gonna make the most money from fighting that? I don't know. I really don't know. At first I think if it would have been Terrence right after Spence, then it would have been Terrence. But Artur Beterbiev just beat Bivol, so now he's kind of like at the high of the game, and I think you're only as good as your last performance. And so right now, Beterbiev is riding that wave. But I think as of right now, Beterbiev is going to be the most. He's going to get the biggest payday from that. Biggest payday from beating Beterbiev or from fighting Beterbiev. And then, but who knows? After I think is it February when they're fighting? In February when Benavidez and Morel fight, right? Depending on what kind of fireworks happen, depending on what that fight looks like, depending on the draw and how many eyes are on that. After that fight's over, one of those two could walk out as the number one guy that would pay Canelo. The fight that would pay Canelo the most. So if they were fighting right now, I would say Beterbiev. And I'm gonna stick with Beterbiev being the highest payday. I think the second highest payday is gonna probably be the winner of Benavidez and Morel. I do. I think that'll be the next highest, right after they fight. You have to do it right after they fight. Crawford will probably be the third highest payday, and Bivol will probably be last because one, we've seen it already. Bivol just lost. So his stock isn't low. Bivol's stock is not low, but we've seen it already. So I think if you give anyone the opportunity to see a fight again, the same fight over again, or a new fight that's got kind of like the same, or the same. If you give them a new fight and we don't know who's going to win that fight, then I think a new fight's always going to beat a replay, a rerun. So I'm going to say that Bivol's going to be the last on that. Crawford is obviously going to be third, the third highest. The second highest is going to be the winner of Benavidez Morel. Highest is going to be Beterbiev. And then lastly, who are you going to get the most respect for beating? Okay, that also plays into it. And I think there's no doubt. The most respect, no one, I doubt anyone really feels like he's going to be able to beat Beterbiev. I don't think no one thinks he's going to be able to beat him. So if he goes and fights Beterbiev, that will be a shutdown. That'll shut down the industry. That'll shut down all sports. Nobody better be playing a sport if Canelo says, I want to fight Beterbiev. That's who I want. That's who I'm going to go after because I want the biggest challenge. I mean, we already respect Canelo because he is a warrior. I mean, there's no doubt. Has he got some decisions I didn't agree with? Yes. But regardless, he goes in there and he fights. He's fighting bigger men most of the time. And he fights like a beast in there. He goes in there and tries to take your head off. He doesn't run. He's not running away from anything. So if he goes in there and fights Beterbiev, that's where he's going to get his most respect. And if he gets that W, man, that is if he can beat Beterbiev, I think he solidifies himself. He's already solidified, but he will solidify. I think if he beats Beterbiev, he'll go right up to number one pound for pound. That's how you regain the number one pound for pound is by beating Beterbiev, for sure. Next respect, some would say Benavidez or the winner of Morel versus Benavidez. Some would say Bivol. I'm going to say Bivol. I'm going to say Bivol gets you the most respect. If you go in there and beat Bivol, that's a fight. That's going to get you respect. That's going to get you all the respect in the world because no one really thinks you're going to be able to beat. No one thinks Canelo can beat Bivol either. I hope not anyway. I don't think anyone thinks that. And Bivol dominated in the first fight. So respect-wise, Bivol's number two. Then the winner of Benavidez Morel right after that. Even though I think Bivol is tougher than both of those guys, I do think that in the eyes of the fans, I think people don't know who's better, Bivol or Benavidez. And I will say Benavidez, he won his last fight at 175 against a good fighter, a really good fighter. I think that fighter would give Bivol the guy that Benavidez fought would probably give Bivol a tough time. So I'm definitely gonna say I'm gonna stick with Bivol though as far as respect. If you beat that man, you will have all the respect in the world. Obviously, then Benavidez Morel. that's where you're going to get your respect. You have to be one of those that you beat the winner of that fight, you're going to get all the respect. Crawford is your least respected win. Even though I'll respect it big time because we know Crawford is a beast. So I mean, Crawford is amazing. I don't even know. I think I kind of lean towards Crawford against Canelo. So that's the thing. Like Canelo, it's almost like fighting Crawford is like the biggest lose-lose situation because that's the one guy you can't lose to. If you lose to him, it's tough because you're bigger. You're bigger. You can't let a little man come up and beat you. That's just the one thing you can't do. And so and then if he wins, it's like you just beat a little guy. So that's the one that's not going to give you the respect that you want. And again, it might not even be the easiest fight. It could be, in all intents and purposes, like the second hardest fight. It could be. It's not going to be harder than Beterbiev. And I don't really see it being harder than Bivol either, but it could be. It could be. With all that being said, who should he fight? Okay, Beterbiev is the toughest fight, followed by Bivol, the winner of Benavidez, and Morrell, and then Crawford. The most money is going to be probably Beterbiev. Okay, I think that's going to be the most money because that's the fight that I think that's the fight that will shut down. That'll shut down the world. If Canelo came out and just said, I want Beterbiev, I think all of boxing shuts down. I really do. I think everything shuts down and we're just like waiting for that fight. I think anybody else he fights, it's just kind of like, it's just not going to be on the same level because everyone is still so afraid of Beterbiev. And, everyone just thinks he's such a monster. He came off a knee injury and beat Bivol. So we know his knee's going to be better. We know he's going to be probably better going forward, at least as long as he hasn't, aged too quickly. But the way he exercises and trains is in shape. I'm not really too worried about that. I think he's definitely got like another 2 years at least of being this dominant guy. And then most respect. Again, most respect is Beterbiev because he is the hardest fight. After that, Bivol, Benavidez, and the winner of Benavidez and Morrell, and then you got Terrence. So basically, the toughest fight is Beterbiev. The most money fight, I think, is probably Beterbiev, and the most respect is probably Beterbiev. That being said, he should fight Beterbiev. He really should. That's who he should fight because at the end of the day, no one thinks you can beat him. Okay? Nobody thinks that Canelo can beat Beterbiev. If he does. And there's a game plan there. That's the one thing. I do think there's a game plan for Canelo. I think he has the boxing ability to game plan that man, move on that man, and have success. I think it's going to be really hard to game plan Bivol because I feel like Bivol has everything on Canelo. Speed, size, strength, everything. Like at least Canelo, I feel like, has speed on Beterbiev. He has footwork on Beterbiev probably. And he's got overall a boxing ability over Beterbiev. I would say he's got some things on Beterbiev. So I do think there is, styles make fights, and I feel like there's a pathway there for Canelo to, game plan. I mean, he's going to game plan the mess out of this. I mean, like if you game plan, this has got to be like the ultimate game plan, but there is a game plan. I feel I don't see a game plan for beating Bivol for him. And I don't see anything that's going to really work against Bivol because Bivol is taller, longer, faster, everything. And then, like I said, with Morrell and Benavidez, if you lose to those guys, then there's no reason to fight Beterbiev or fight Bivol, because everyone probably thinks that those two are better than Benavidez and Morrell. So I think Beterbiev is the next move. I think that's the next fight he should take. It's a great fight, and everyone and their mom's gonna watch that fight. I mean, that fight is gonna just dominate. It's just gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if that fight did 1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if that fight did 1 million, maybe even more. Maybe even more. I would not be surprised. But tell me what you guys think. Let me know. You guys think, who do you guys want to see? You guys want to see, who do you want to see? Beterbiev? You want to see Bivol? Or you want to see the winner of Benavidez and Morrell? Or do you want to see Terrence Crawford? I want to see Beterbiev. I'll keep it real. I would love it. I want to see that fight more than anything. I want to see Canelo versus Beterbiev more than anything. That'd be my #1 fight to make right now. But again, if you guys like what I'm doing, like, comment, subscribe, anything. My name is Donnie P. Left Hook.